Previously on Balls.
And somebody who's in Durban at the moment, I assume. You're back home, right, David?
I am back at home. Beautiful wet Durban today, Dan.
Raining there as well. It's bucketing down here too.
Yeah, need a bit of rain.
Yeah. So, back from Sun City. Obviously saw you on the telly on the weekend. And I'm just trying to think, your Aussie band... your Aussie band that we'd always like to play an Aussie song after we finish with you. Anyone in mind today? Oh, gee. You can't tell me you don't know one band from Sydney or Australia.
A band?
Or group or singer.
Oh, definitely. There's, Dragon.
Dragon? What is that?
Yeah.
Death metal?
Yeah, it's all Jimmy Barnes. There's a poem.
Jimmy Barnes.
You know, Jimmy Barnes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of the guys there have got to get a bit educated, get out of the Joburg area and understand what the world's like.
We've got a lot of NXS. I think we played NXS already today.
ACDC.
The usual same old ones.
Yeah, there's a lot there.
All right, I'll put in some NXS for you after we've had a chat. Blow Monkeys?
Who?
Blow Monkeys.
In Australia, that's a command.
That sounds like an Australian.
That's a YouTube something, I think.
Yeah, there's a band called the Blow Monkeys. Actually. All right, so how are your Rebels? Well, first of all, I think we need to give you kudos. How are your Waratahs, eh?
Hey, I told you they finally win, didn't I?
Gee, and they were way down in that game and came back nicely.
Yeah, it was a bit like watching the Cheetahs play against the Force. It was like watching wet paint dry.
Yeah.
It was like, and I kept on saying, unfortunately, when you get to this competition and you can see when some of the lower teams haven't got the stars, the game is a very ordinary game. It's very close because the two teams, do lack the players to actually finish, or you've got the vision. And I remember watching the game, and I got one tweet saying, I've just turned the TV on, it's like watching a game of park rugby. So you can imagine what the people, the Cheetahs, but I must say, I actually like watching the Cheetahs play because they're actually one of the teams that do have a lot of adventure in them. Yeah. They do try things, and LaRue, fullback, is one of those X-factor players who can actually create something out of nothing. He didn't have a great game, but, he scored a try, and, the Cheetahs won.
Yeah. I'm just thinking in terms of all the Aussie sides, and the Brumbies went down. They played well. They still show they're the leading side at the moment. But with the Rebels, I mean, for instance, them and the Force are just not showing anything this year. But the Rebels looked like we thought the Kings were going to be this year. They are terrible.
Darren, the Rebels. What did Nick Mallet call them? The Rebels.
The Rebel, yeah.
It was absolutely unbelievable. When you think you got a guy like James O'Connor playing. And I actually said to someone, what position is the guy playing? Because he didn't play, he had number 15 on the back, he was playing 10, 12. You can't, if you've got a star player, you've got to put him in a position where he can dominate a game. It's no good putting him back at fullback when he gets the ball and he's got to kick it.
Yeah.
Then he gets 10 minutes for a spear tackle. Now, some of the rugby players aren't pretty intelligent because you know what the rule is. You can't do that, and they still do it.
Yeah.
And we saw in the Bulls game, two guys that, the poor Bulls winger, he had to be commended because Slipper was a prop, and I'd be pretty embarrassed to be tackled by a winger because nowadays we never tackled anybody. So a prop these days getting tackled by a winger is pretty scary.
Yeah.
But the Rebels they're nowhere. I mean, I must admit the coaching staff aren't fantastic. The guy who's coaching, Damien Hill, coached a team called University, which is a very structured team. Which are the Tom Carters, those guys who are basically skillless. And I think that's what the problem is. If you look at this competition, you need some people with some flair. You need some people who are going to actually change the game for you and win it. I watched that game and I'm just trying to think, the Sharks was one-way traffic.
Yeah.
And lucky, I think the Sharks are very lucky they came up against a team that were very disorganised. And the team tries, they need it, but the thing with the Sharks is they haven't got to buy off. They've got to buy a week off, so all they could work, they've got to start again. So the Rebels were diabolical.
And it's not happening for
Whoops, sorry, let me take it.
Okay, yeah, and it's not happening for them off the field either. You're reading about Curtly Beale and Cooper Vuna going home because I think someone told Curtly Beale to put his shirt on in the bus after going out to a nightclub or something like that?
Yeah,
what is that?
I mean, look, it's quite interesting because, Doyle could probably, been in rugby a long time. Like, I went on tours, in the 80s, and we went around and we toured the Grand Slam for 18 games. And the thing is, you go out, and the thing is, you've got to understand, when you go to a different country, you're an ambassador for your country. Everybody knows what you do on the field, but they're always going to judge you for what you do off the field. And I can tell you cases like, I remember Joe Rock when he played for the Brumbies in Cape Town, pulling a taxi cab meter out of a cab, and I mean, that was after my time, but the thing is, he never did that because, everything goes back to Australia, and you get back there, and it's a bit of an embarrassment. These young guys, I think that they've got so much time. Curly Bill's injured, and the story was that he was giving the captain a hard time, and Cooper told him to sit down and shut up. What they do is, to make Curly Bill look good, they send home Cooper as well. And it's just, but the thing is, how many times have we got to see this, But we don't want to see this.
But after such a poor performance, what the hell were they doing going out anyway?
Yeah.
Well, mate, I tell you, if I got beat by 60, I'd be on the drink as well. And probably say, geez, it was a close game, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So I think that's just the... when there's problems in a team and things aren't sort of gelling, that's what happens. The players go out and they have a bit too much because of the frustrations. I mean, they've got some good rugby players, but they're just not playing as a team, and you can see that they've got the wrong coach. And I mean, I know the Nathan Gray's the skills coach. Like, Nathan Gray plays in his style. He couldn't kick, couldn't pass, and he's a skills coach. So, you know what I mean? Like, you've got horses for courses, but if you want to compete, it is a tough competition, and the Kings found that out with the Crusaders. It's no easy game in this competition. You play, like the Stormers played the Brumbies one week. Now they're going to play the Crusaders the next week. So you're on a high, and the next week you've got a harder game. So that's the difference between the mentality between the good and the bad.
I just want to add something there, and I know people get on my back, and I do give the Kings a hard time. And they've shown that they're a little bit more competitive than people expected them to be, and me being one of those. However, I mean, I can't understand people. Whenever did you see a South African, any South African fan, celebrate the fact that their team only lost by 35 points? This is Super Rugby. You can't. I mean, and that's the crazy thing. We've kind of set a different standard for one of our teams because it's almost like we feel sorry for them. I shame the Kings. The battle is, they couldn't get players. Blah 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 blah. We shouldn't put ourselves in that position. We shouldn't be sitting there going, gee, did you see the Kings only lost by 35?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You think about the Rebels as well. Like the Rebels, the second year, like last year they beat the Crusaders. So they have got some good players, but they've got to get them on the paddock all at once. You know, and as you said, like, why would you, like, you can't support a side that, oh, geez, the Kings were played very well, the Crusaders, great side, but the Kings, geez, I scored 20 points, played well. I mean, the thing is, you got your ass kicked.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the reality of life. You're in one of the toughest competitions in the world, and it's not easy. And the press seem to go, oh, the Kings are tough. They go, they never gave up. No rugby team ever gives up. But because it's a new team, they've got to sort of publicise, say, like, we're supporting you. I mean, it's just wrong. I mean, it's just it shouldn't happen that way.
Now, I mean, you can understand that in cricketing terms where the Proteas, go and thump Afghanistan or someone, and Afghanistan score 180, and everyone goes, oh, that wasn't bad for them, because you're not expecting, they only every now and again play in a similar competition like a World Cup, but generally they wouldn't play against each other.
Exactly.
This is something where these teams are expected to meet each other every year in Super Rugby, and it's just not acceptable to go, oh, well, that was okay, it was only 35.
Well, what's going to happen down at the end of the year when whoever finishes last is going to play the Kings? Who's everyone's going to support?
Yeah, well, if the Kings finish last, which it looks like they will now. Let's get to the predictions. Time's marching on, so let's have a look at the games ahead this weekend.
I think my tally was a bit better than last week.
Yeah, I think you did well. What did you get,
I did
6?
I went for the fourth, I think.
Yeah.
And I went for the Brumbies, but I had to go. And I went for the Taj, which finally won. So I think I got 2 wrong.
2. What was the other one?
I went for the Reds.
Oh, okay.
And I went for the Crusaders. I went for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And I went for the Sharks, obviously. Thank God.
Yeah. All right. So let's just see how well you do this week. Then let's have a look at David Campese's predictions ahead of another week of Super Rugby action. So let's go, Simon.
Okay, Highlanders Reds, David.
Highlanders Reds.
In Dunedin.
Ooh, yeah, the Reds are Highlanders are struggling, aren't they? They've actually tried to buy a team that's backfiring.
Yeah.
I'll go for the Highlanders this week.
Hurricanes against the Kings in Wellington.
Ooh, that's a tough one. By how many?
By how many?
By 30.
30.
Hurricanes by 30, okay?
Yeah, you're getting conservative now suddenly.
Yeah.
All right.
Chiefs Blues.
The Chiefs Blues. Ooh, I think I have to go for the Chiefs easily.
Yeah.
Brumbies Bulls.
The Brumbies at home, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're back.
Ooh. Yeah, the Bulls have lost a few players, haven't they?
Yeah, they have.
Well, I think I'll have to go with the Brumbies at home.
Yeah, I think Jake will get him back.
But I must say, I'm still going to stick to what I said a couple of weeks ago and on Twitter. Jake White's playing very, very conservative South African rugby, very simple.
And then also home are the Cheetahs against the Rebels.
Can they do 4 in a row?
I have to go for the Cheetahs, I think.
Yeah.
Stormers Crusaders.
Whoever thought the Cheetahs would go into a game maybe underestimating their opponents away from home in Super Rugby? I mean, that could be the only thing that would probably cost them.
Yeah. They're going to have packed stadium as well, Darren.
Who?
The Cheetahs now.
is it?
I must say,
Yeah, it's in Blimp.
Yes.
Oh, they back.
They back right back today.
They had a fourth game over there. All right. Oh, that's one. Cheetahs by a mile.
It was a couple of interesting facts from the weekend as well. Do you know the Sharks game, that the Sharks back row was smaller than the Rebels back row?
Didn't know that.
Didn't know that, but
The back row was smaller.
Yeah.
It was the first time I actually said to Nick Mallett, I can't believe for South African team, the back row was smaller than the Australian team. Back row.
Good point. Yeah.
Very scary. But I'll just say the...
Size doesn't matter.
The flankers for the Free State are fantastic, huh?
Yeah. Very, very good. No, they played some good rugby. Next one?
The big one of the weekend, Stormers Crusaders.
I'm going to have to go for the Crusaders because it's a home game for them.
Yeah, true. Good point.
You always play well at home.
Good point.
But no Dan Carter.
No, Dan Carter.
Is he out, is he?
Yeah,
he's like wife's had a baby.
What happened?
Not
Wife's-
true. Wife's had a
Dropping
baby.
a shorty.
Oh, my goodness. What next?
So what are you saying, Mr. Campese? If one of your children was about to be
I
born,
retired from rugby well after when I had children, thank you.
yeah, he's not going to go the
I
hypothetical route.
dedicated to rugby.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Waratahs Force.
Waratahs Force, geez, that's a tough one. Waratahs, easy.
There we go.
Yeah.
That it?
okay. Yeah, that's it.
All right, those are David's predictions. We'll put them up on the website. You can podcast balls.co.za and go through them again, especially if you're playing Super Brew. I want to be a winner with Digi ads and also with Corex. Those fabulous prize up for grabs at the end of the whole competition. Thanks, David. We'll catch up with you again same time next Monday.
When are we getting back to this video conference?
When we get video technology in the studio, we're in.
Mate, it's not the same, man.
No, it'll get there. Don't worry. It's all
Speaking of video, though, you're looking good on the TV, eh?
Yeah, thanks, yeah.
Very good, David. Very good.
Thanks, yeah. Especially when I'm talking with Nas, eh?
Yeah. HD's a friend of yours.
good old.
Did you see the joke he told on Saturday night, Nas?
No.
Talked about the referees.
No.
What was it?
He was refereeing one game, I think it was Tupper Henning. And someone said something about referees. So he's not the best. He said, well, there's 31 referees out here and you're not in the top 10.
I think that was an Andre Watson chip.
That was very funny, huh?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, David. We'll chat to you again
Thanks,
next Monday. Thanks a lot. Have a good week.
Okay, you too.
Ta-ta.
Cheers, David.
Bye.
Good on you, mate. Bye.
There we go. David Campese joining us in the flash out on a Monday. Get on our website, sign up for Super Brew if you're not there yet. Join the hundreds who are having a lot of fun doing it and standing a chance to win prizes with balls.
This is Balls Visual Radio. Darren, Simon, Kate and John. Weekdays from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. Central African Time. Balls.co.za